This is a reading of chapter 3 of Devi Bhagavatam. Brahma said, "We were very much astonished not to find water where our beautiful aeroplane landed us. We saw earth resonated with the sweet cooings of the cuckoos, filled with beautiful fruit-laden trees, forests and gardens. Big rivers, wells, tanks, ponds, water springs, small pools, women, men, all are there. Next we saw in front of us a nice city enclosed by a divine wall, containing many sacrificial halls and various palatial buildings and magnificent edifices. Oh, we thought, it is heaven. What a great wonder. Who built this? Next we saw a king looking like a Deva is going out on a hunting excursion in the forest. The Devi Ambika, whom we saw before, is staying on the chariot. In an instant our aeroplane, propelled by the air, got high up above the sky and reached in the twinkling of an eye at a lovely place. We saw there a divine Nandana garden. There Surabhi, the cow of plenty, was staying under the shade of the Parijata tree. Close by her there was an elephant having 4 tusks. And Menaka and other hosts of Apsaras were there, with their various gestures and postures, playing, dancing and singing. There were hundreds of yakshas, Gandharvas, Vyadadaras, and within that Mandara garden playing and singing. Within this there was the Lord Satakruta, with Sachi, the daughter of Puluma. Next we saw with great wonder Varuna, the lord of the aquatic animals, Kubera, Yama, Surya, fire, and the other devas. Then we saw that in our front Indra, the lord of the devas, was coming out from a well-decorated city. He was there situated in this palanquin, calm and quiet and carried by men. Then the car, where we were situated, began to get high up in the sky, and in the twinkling of an eye we reached Brahmaloka, that is saluted by all the devas. There Shambhu and Keshava were greatly bewildered to see Brahma of that place. In the council hall of Brahma, the Vedas with their Agnas, the serpents, hills, oceans and rivers were seen. Seeing all this, Vishnu Maheshwara asked me, "O four-faced one, who is this eternal Brahma?" I replied, "I do not know who is this Brahma. Who am I and who is he? Why has this error come over me? You too also are gods, so you can better ponder over it." Next our car, going with the swiftness of mind, went in the twinkling of an eye to the beautiful, all-auspicious Kailasha mountain, surrounded by bliss-giving yakshas. It was beautified by the Mandara garden, resonated by the sweet cooings of sukas and cuckoos and the sweet sounds of lutes and small drums and tabors. When we reached there, we saw the 5-faced, 3-eyed Bhagavan Shashi Shekhara with 10 hands, wearing tiger skin and the upper garment of the elephant skin. He was then getting out of his abode, riding on a bull. His 2 sons, the great heroes Ganesha and Kartikeya, beautifully adorned, were attending him as his bodyguards. Nandi and all other hosts were following him, chanting victories to him. O Muni Narada, we were greatly wondered to see another Sankara surrounded by Matrikas. So much so that, perplexed with doubt, I sat down there. Next our aeroplane went on with a force of wind, and in an instant reached the abode of Vaikuntha, the amusement court of Lakshmi. O Sutta, there at Vaikuntha we saw a wonderful manifestation of power. Our companion Vishnu was greatly surprised to see that excellent city. We saw there 4-armed Vishnu of the color of Vatashi flower, wearing yellow garments, adorned with divine ornaments, sitting on Garuda. Lakshmi Devi is fanning a wonderful cowrie to him. Struck with wonder at the sight of the eternal Vishnu, we took our seats on the car and looked at one another's faces. Next, the balloon ascended with the swiftness of wind, and in the twinkling when I reached to the ocean of nectar, the Sudasagra, with waves playing sweetly on it. This ocean, Sudasagra, is filled with aquatic animals and agitated with ripples. We saw and went along and came to a very wonderful place called the Mani Dvipa, in the midst of the ocean. It was adorned with Mandara and Parijata and other heavenly flowers, with various beautiful carpets, with variegated trees, Ashoka, Vakula, Ketaki, Champaka, Kuravaka, etc., adorned with lustrous gems and pearls. It was resonated with the sweet cooings of the cuckoos and the humming sounds of bees, and it presented the sight of a sweet harmonious music playing there. Sitting on our aeroplane, we saw from a distance within that Dvipa a beautiful cot known as Shivakara. looking like a rainbow with an exquisitely beautiful carpet spread over it, and decked with various gems and jewels and inlaid with pearls. We saw a divine lady sitting on a cot, wearing a red garment and garland of red cloth and bedewed with red sandal paste. Her eyes were dark red. That beautiful-faced, red-lipped lady looked more beautiful than 10 millions of lightnings and 10 millions of Lakshmis, and lustrous like the sun. The Bhagavati Bhuvaneshwari was sitting with a sweet smile on her lips, and holding in her 4 hands news gold and signs indicating as if she was ready to grant boons and asking her devotees discard all fear. We never saw before such a form. Even the birds of that place repeat the mystic incantation, Hrim, and serve that lady, who is of the color of the rising sun, all merciful, and in the full bloom of youth. That lotus-faced smiling lady was adorned with all the beauties of nature. Her high breasts defied the lotus bud. She was holding various jeweled ornaments. Her lotus face looked exceedingly beautiful, with jeweled earrings of the shape of the Sri Yantra. Rileka and other Deva girls were surrounding her. There were Sakis on the 4 sides, always chanting hymns to Maheshwari, the lady of the world. She was surrounded on all her sides by Ananga Kusuma and other Devis. She was sitting in the middle of the Satkuna Yantra. We were all wondered at the sight of this wonderful form never seen before, and we thought, who is this lady? What is her name? We knew nothing of her from such a distance. Thus, while we were gazing at her, that 4-armed lady became gradually 1,000-eyed, and with 1,000 hands and 1,000 feet, so it seemed to us. O Narada, we became very much embarrassed with doubts and thought within ourselves, is she Apsara, or a Gandhara daughter, or any other Devi girl? Who is she? At this juncture, Bhagavan Vishnu saw closely the sweet-smiling Devi, and by his intelligence came to a definite conclusion and spoke to us. This is the Devi Bhagavati, Mahavidya, Mahamaya, undecaying and eternal. She is the full, the Prakriti. She is the cause of us all. This Devi is inconceivable to those who are of dull intellects. Only the yogis can see her by their yoga power. She is eternal, and also non-eternal. She is the will force of the Supreme Self. She is the first creatrix of this world. This Devi with wide eyes, the lady of the universe, has produced the Vedas. The less fortunate persons cannot worship her. During the time of Pralaya, she destroys all the universe, draws within her body all the subtle bodies, and plays. O 2 Devas, at present she is residing in the form of the seed of the universe. Behold, on her sides are seen duly all the Vibhutis. They are all adorned with divine ornaments and anointed with divine scents, and are serving her. O Brahma, O Shankara, today we are blessed and highly fortunate. We have got the sight of this Devi. The tapasyas that we practiced of yore have yielded to us this fruit. Else why Bhagavati has shown so carefully her own form? Those who are highly meritorious by tapasyas and gifts of abundant wealth, those high-souled persons are able to see this all-auspicious Bhagavati. The person attached to sensual objects can never see her. It is she that is the Mula Prakriti, united with the Chindana person. It is she that creates this Brahmanda and exhibits it to the Paramatma. O 2 Devas, this whole universe and all the seers and seen and other things contained therein owe to her as their sole cause. She is the Maya, assuming all forms. She is the goddess of all. Where is I myself? Where are the Devis? Where are Lakshmi and the other Devas? We cannot compare to 100,000th part of her. It is this all-excellent lady whom I saw in the great ocean, when she reckoned me, who was a baby then, with greatest gladness. In former days, when I was sleeping on the cot made of immovable fixed leaves of a banyan tree, and licking my toe, making it enter within my mouth, and playing like an ordinary baby, this lady rocked my gentle body to and fro on the banyan leaves, singing songs like a mother. Now I recollect all that I felt before at her sight, and recognize that she is Bhagavati. These very things I now communicate to you. Hear attentively that she is this lady, and she is our mother. Thus ends the 3rd chapter of the 3rd skanda on seeing the Devi in the Mahapuranam Srimad Devi Bhagavatam of 18,000 verses by Maharishi Vyasa. This is the reading of chapter 4 of the Devi Bhagavatam. Brahma said, thus speaking, Bhagavan Janandana Vishnu spoke to me again. Come, let us bow down to her again and again, and let us go to her. We shall reach at her feet fearlessly, and we will chant hymns to her. Mahamaya will be pleased with us and will grant us boons. If the guards at the entrance prevent us from going, we would stand at the gateway and we will chant hymns to the Devi with one mind. Brahma said, when Hari addressed us in the above way, we too became choked by intense feelings of joy. Our voice became tremulous, and we waited there for some time. Our hearts were elated with joy to go to her. We then accepted Hari's word and said, and got down from our car and went with the hastened steps and with fear to the gate. Seeing us standing at the gateway, the Devi Bhagavati smiled and within an instant transformed us three into females. We looked beautiful and youthful women, adorned with nice ornaments. Thus we greatly wondered and went to her. Seeing us standing at her feet in feminine forms, the beautiful Devi Bhagavati looked on us with eyes of affection. We then bowed to the great Devi, looked at one another and stood before her in that feminine dress. We three then began to see the pedestal of the great Devi, shining with the luster of 10 million suns and decorated with various gems and jewels. We next discerned that thousands and thousands of attendants were waiting on her. Some of them were wearing red dress, some blue dress, some yellow dress. Thus the Devi girls, variously dressed, were serving her and standing by her side. They were dancing, singing on and playing with musical instruments, and were gladly chanting hymns in praise of the Devi. O Narada, we saw there another wonderful thing. Listen. We saw the whole universe, moving and non-moving, within the nails of the lotus feet of the Devi. We saw there myself, Vishnu, Rudra, Vayu, Agni, Yama, Moon, Sun, Varuna, Twasta, Indra, Kubera, and other devas, Apsaras, Gandharvas, rivers, oceans, mountains, Vishvavasus, Chitraketu, Sweta, Chitranganda, Narada, Tumburu, Ha, Hu, and other Gandhabas, the twin Aswins, the 8 Vasus, Sadyas, Siddhas, the Pitris, Ananta and other Nagas, Kanaras, Uragas, Rakshasas, the abode of Vaikuntha, the abode of Brahma, Kailasha mountain, the best of all mountains, all were existing there. Within that nail of the toe were reflected on the things of the universe. The lotus whence I was born, the four-faced Brahma like myself, on that lotus, Bhagavan, Jagannatha, lying on that bed of Ananta, the 2 demons Madhuketava, all I saw there. Seeing all these wonderful things within the nails of her lotus feet, I became greatly surprised and thought timidly, what are all these? My companions, Vishnu and Shankara, were struck with wonder. We three then made out that she was our mother of the universe. Thus, full 100 years passed away in seeing the various glories of the Devi in the auspicious nectar like Manidvipa. As long as we were there, her attendants, the Devi girls, adorned with various ornaments, gladly considered us as Sakis. We too were greatly fascinated by their enchanting gestures and postures. For that reason, we saw always their beautiful movements with great gladness. Once, on an occasion, Bhagavan Vishnu, while he was in that feminine form, chanted hymns in praise of the great Devi Bhuvaneshwari. Sri Bhagavan said, Salutations to the Devi Prakriti, the Creatrix. I bow down again and again to thee. Thou art all auspicious and grantest the desires of thy devotees. Thou art the nature of Siddhi and Vriddhi. I bow down and again to thee. I bow down to the World Mother, who is of the nature of everlasting existence, intelligence and bliss. O Devi, thou createst, preservest, and destroyest this universe. Thou dost the pralaya and showest favor to the created beings. Thus thou art the authoress of the above 5-fold things that are done. So, O Bhuvaneshwari, I bow down to thee. Thou art the great efficient and material cause of the changeful. Thou art the unchangeable, immovable consciousness. Thou art the half-letter, Ardhamatra, Trileka, the consciousness that pervades both outside and inside the universe. Thou art the supreme soul and the individual soul. Salutations again and again to thee. O Mother, I now realize fully well that this whole universe rests on thee. It rises from thee and again melts away in thee. The creation of this universe shews thy infinite force. Verily, thou art become thyself all these lokas. During the time of creation, thou createst the 2 formless elements, Akasha and Vayu, and the 3 elements with form, fire, water, and earth. Then with these thou createst the whole universe, and shewest this to the enjoyer, Purusha, who is of the nature of consciousness for his satisfaction. Thou again dost become the material cause of the 23 tattvas, Mahat, etc., as enumerated in the Sankhya system that appears to us like a mirage. O Mother, were it not for thee, no object would be visible. Thou pervadest the whole universe. It is for this reason that those persons that are wise declare that even the highest Purusha can do no work without thy aid. O Devi, thou createst and art giving satisfaction to the whole universe by thy power. Again, at the time of pralaya, thou swallowest forcibly all these that are seen. So, O Devi, what can fathom thy powers? O Mother, thou didst save us from the hands of Madhu and Kaitava. Then thou hast brought us to this Manidvipa and shewed us thy own form, all these extended regions and immense powers, and given us exquisite delight and joy. This is the highest place of happiness. O Mother, when I myself, Shankar and Brahma, or any one of us, is unable to fathom thy inconceivable glory, who else can then ascertain? O Bhavani, who knows how many more than the several regions that we saw reflected in thy nails of thy feet exist in thy creation? O one endowed with infinitely great powers, O Devi, we saw another Vishnu, another Hara, another Brahma, all of great celebrity in the universe exhibited by thee. Who knows how many other such Brahmas exist in thy other universes? Thy glory is infinite. O Mother, I bow down and again to thy lotus feet and pray to thee that may this form exist always in my mind, may my mouth always utter thy name, and may my two eyes always thy lotus feet. O revered one, may I remember thee as my goddess, and mayst thou constantly look on myself as thy humble servant. O Mother, what more shall I say than this? May this relation as mother and son always exist between thee and me. O world mother, there is nothing in this world that is not known to thee, for thou art omniscient. So, O Bhavani, what more shall my humble self declare to thee? Now dost thou do whatever thou desirest. O Devi, the rumor goes that Brahma is the creator, Vishnu is the preserver, and Maheshwara is the destroyer. Is this true, Eternal One? It is through thy willpower, through thy force, and we create, preserve, and destroy. O daughter of the Himalaya mountain, the earth is supporting this universe. It is thy endless might that is holding all this made of 5 elements. O grant us of boons, it is through thy power and luster that the sun is lustrous and becomes visible. Though thou art the attributeless self, yet by thy Mayak power thou appearest in the form of this Prapancha universe. And Brahma, Maheshwara, and I myself take birth by thy power and are not eternal. What more can be said of Indra and other devas than this, that they are mere temporary things and created? It is only thou that art eternal, ancient Prakriti, and the mother of this universe, O Bhavani. Now I realize from my remaining with thee that it is thou that dost impart, out of mercy, the Brahma Vidya to the ancient Purusha, and thus he can realize his eternal nature. Otherwise he will remain always under delusion that he is the Lord, he is the Purusha without beginning, that he is good and the universal soul, and thus suffers under various forms of egoism. Thou art the Vidya of the intelligent persons and the Shakti of the beings endowed with force. Thou art Kriti, fame, Kanti, luster, Kamala, wealth, and the spotless Tushti, peace, happiness. Amongst men thou art the dispassion leading to Mukti. Thou art the Gayatri, the mother of the Vedas, and thou art Swaha, Swada. Thou art the Bhagavati of the nature of 3 gunas, thou art the half-matra, the 4th state, transcending the gunas. It is thou that givest always the Shastras for the preservation of the Devas and the Brahmanas. It is thou that hast expanded and manifested this whole phenomenon of the visible universe for the liberation of the embodied souls. The parts of the pure holy Brahman, the full, the beginningless, the deathless, forming the waves of the infinite expanse of ocean. When the jiva comes to know internally and becomes thoroughly conscious that all this is thy work, thou createst and destroyest, that all this is thy Mayak pastime, false like the parts of an actor in a theatrical play, then and then only he desists forever from his part in this theatre of world. O Mother, O destroyer of the greatest difficulties, I always take refuge unto thee. Thou dost save me from this ocean of samsara, full of moha. That thou be my saviour when my end will come from these infinitely troublesome and unreal pains arising from love and hatred. Obeisance to thee, O Devi, O Mahavidya, I fall prostrate at thy feet. O thou, the giver of all desires, O auspicious one, dost thou give the knowledge that is all light to me. Thus ends the 4th chapter of the 3rd skanda on the hymns of the great Devi by Vishnu in the Mahapurana Srimad Devi Bhagavatam of 18,000 verses by Maharishi Vedvyasa. Sakshat Shri Adishakti Mataji Shri Nirmala Devi Namo Namaha.